Well, welcome to week 2 of Rebel Nation. Beside UNLV football beat writer Mark Anderson, I'm Bryan Salmond. So the Rebels have UTEP Saturday at Sam Boyd at 6 p.m. But first, before we get to that game, let's kind of talk about the game that they had, their season opener at USC. They lost 43-21. They had the lead in the first half of this game. You had to be encouraged watching what UNLV did this first game of the season.
Yeah, in fact, it's funny. Maybe I'm the one responsible for this.
They were taking credit for it.
They're in USC territory. I said, they should. I think I said they should go into halftime with a lead.
Oh.
So I think I messed it up for them because then they missed the field goal.
That's your fault.
And then USC goes down the field and scores a touchdown, takes the lead for good. So yeah, blame me for it. But yeah, no, I thought going into the game, I thought UNLV would at least cover the spread and come away feeling pretty decent about itself. And for 3 quarters, I mean, they're only down 19-14, and then depth and talent basically took over in the fourth quarter, and then you saw the difference. But yeah, I think it's a lot to build on for UNLV.
I would agree. I mean, look at the numbers. Armani Rogers goes 12 for 27. He had 97 yards passing. Not great, but he did have 2 touchdown passes, which was great. And their rushing game, they rushed for over 300 yards in the game. I mean, what more could they ask for in a game against USC at LA Coliseum and having the lead? But then the fourth quarter actually happened?
Fourth quarter. They had to play a final 15 minutes,
okay.
It's in the rule book. So, but yeah, the running game, that play that Lexington broke off for 71 yards, untouched.
Yes,
it was a great fake on a reverse to Tyleik Collins, and it looked like USC completely bit on it, and the hole was wide open. He was gone. It was just an impressive play, and. Yeah, I mean they stood toe to toe with those guys for a while, and then you mentioned Armani's passing, some struggles completing passes.
Yeah,
USC's pass defense is as good as there is in the Pac-12. I'll put their linebackers and defensive backs up with any one of the Pac-12. They didn't have a lot of open receivers. They had a couple of drop passes, so I know there are questions about Armani's completion percentage even going into the season.
Yeah.
I wouldn't read too much into this game on that. Let's see what happens the next couple weeks.
How about the second pass touchdown that he had? That thing was a dart.
It was.
I mean, he right into a nice window there. I mean, he, as you said, his numbers don't look fantastic, but the passes that he completed, he actually did it versus a very good defense. So it's encouraging how he threw the ball anyway, right?
He did, and he picked up. If you take away the sacks, he picked up over 100 yards rushing.
He did.
So that tells you something right there against that defense.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he going to do the next 2 weeks? He should have 2 really big games, at least on the ground. And I think his passing numbers will pick up too.
All right, so you talk about what he'll do in the next 2 weeks. Man, you're a TV guy already. Yeah, nice little segue. Of course, UNLV up next. They have UTEP at Sam Boyd Stadium. Both teams are coming into the home opener 0-1. UTEP lost to Northern Arizona 30-10, which wasn't great, but there is a silver lining if you're head coach Tony Sanchez and trying to prepare your team for facing a team that is 0-1. You talked to Lexington Thomas, and he talked about what that challenge may be. Here's what he had to say.
Like Coach said, as far as running the ball, being patient, I was really watching film today. I seen a couple of their fronts. It was more like we're going to have you think that this side open, but we're going to blitz the backside. So it's more like me being a running back, being more patient, not trying to make all the home plays like Coach said, get 4 yards, 5 yards at a time.
All right, so Thomas obviously had a good game versus USC. He would love to have a good game versus UTEP, but he's not going into it with his eyes closed, is he?
No, the one thing that UTEP did well in the Northern Arizona game was play good run defense. Well, only 3 yards per carry, 107 yards rushing total. So I think UNLV's going to have better rushing numbers than that. But I think probably Lexington and Thomas and the other backs look at that and say, all right, we can't take these guys lightly, at least on their run defense. That's one of the few silver linings of a NAU fan. a UTEP fan. That thing lost to 20 points at home.
Yeah, 30-10. That's not
to an FCS school. That's a bad loss.
Yeah.
So, it's a pretty good run defense, and I think they're going to give UNLV some troubles. This is a game UNLV should win easily.
You have to have this game. UNLV going into this game, what the line is 24 and a half. But if you're UNLV, you're playing a home opener. How do you not think about last season when you played against Hampton? How many? They were the biggest favorite to lose in
like 44.5 or
Yeah,
something,
something like
45
that.
something
Like, how do you not have that in the back of your
Right.
mind? I mean, you want to be confident. You should be feeling good after you face USC at USC and played as well as you played, and you're playing a team that is a tomato can, so to speak. But, you know, how do you guard against? Actually, it might be a good thing what happened last year for Tony Sanchez in order to tell his team, like, this is what happened when you get overconfident.
And you know what? And you know what this team's been asked about since preseason? And that's about their struggles against these types of games.
Ah, okay.
They've had trouble, and this goes back before Tony Sanchez. This isn't a new thing. They've had trouble in these games where they go in with favored to win fairly easily, and then they, for whatever reason, they play tight or whatever it is, and the game's tight or they lose. And they've had a number of those games, and I think I think at least Tony has that in his back pocket with his team this week, and a lot of these players remember that. They remember that Howard lost last season. They don't want that again, and they're tired of people asking about them about this. So I do think they're going to come out and play really well. They got to play well this week, and they're going to play well next week against Prairie View A&M. They got to make statements in both those games that this is not the same old UNLV team, because that's if they don't, then it's going to be another one of those seasons where people are going to be questioning about the direction of this program.
Yeah, well, this program is a program that wants to go to a bowl game. You want to go to a bowl game. So at the beginning of the year, if you're yourself or you're me or people that are covering the team, looking at the team, you're looking at the schedule like, okay, this should be a win, this should be a win, this should be a win. This is, maybe if they get this one, they'll put them in good position. Right. And these are two games, as you're saying, that you look at the schedule like, hey, they should win these two games, and this should put them in good position moving forward for making a bowl game. Yeah. And I mean, that's got to be how they're going into this game. Like, okay, we have to win this game. Maybe that makes them tight.
Yeah, well, because of the pressure's on them. And UTEP comes in with nothing to lose. But I think it's not enough just to win these games. I think they need to make statements in both these games. I think they need to basically call these shut-up games. They need to shut up their critics with these two games.
I like that.
And win decisively both times. And that way people say, all right, maybe this program's heading in the right direction after all. Because if either one of these, if they have to squeak out either one of these games, those are red flags all over the place. Okay, and something that you wrote, you can see this at reviewjournal.com. You talked about some of the positives that the UNLV football team has going into this game. If you look at it, the Rebels are getting 3 players back, which you wrote about. Darren Woods Jr., who's a wide receiver, Alex Perry, who's a cornerback, and Kendall Keys, who's a wide receiver who got kind of nicked up in the USC game. So that's good for them. Also, you spoke a little bit about it, but the Miners defense held Northern Arizona to 107 yards, 3 yards a carry, which is good. Yeah. And the Rebels obviously favored by 24.5. But talk about like the 3 guys that they're getting back and how much that should help them out moving forward. Well, that's huge. I mean, you know, when Kendall Keys went down, I thought he had a concussion. You know, it looked like that's the first thing you think about, right? So that's a big break for them. He doesn't have one. He was the one who cut that touchdown pass in the dart. Having Darren Woods back would be huge for him, so that should really open up the passing game. Alex Perry, transfer from Arizona State. The NCAA just cleared last week to play right away, so he didn't have to sit out a year. He was a 4-star athlete out of Bishop Gorman. He should go into the rotation right away, and I think he's going to be really something else. Okay, so those are some positives if you're UNLV. So last week, you and I both predicted that UNLV would cover the spread. I guess lastly, going into this game this weekend, do they cover the spread? Yeah, I have a good feeling about this week. I do. I think they're going to come out and try to make a statement. I was at the news conference yesterday with Tony Sanchez, and someone asked him about these types of games, and there was, I don't know about an irritation, but there was sort of an edge in his voice that, you know, like, we're tired of dealing with this. So I think it's not just him. I think this team's tired of hearing about this, because it's not just from the media. You know, it's their family, friends, you know, classmates. Everyone's talking about it. So I think they're sick of it. So I don't think they're going to overlook this team at all, but they shouldn't. They shouldn't anyway. No. But I think they're going to come out and play really well. All right. Well, some guy who does really well when he comes out on set is this guy, Mark Anderson, the UNLV Rebel football and basketball beat writer. This is Rebel Nation. This is Premier Vegas Sports. I'm Bryan Salmond. Thank you for joining us, folks. We'll see you next week.